This is the Marketing Umbrella Podcast, where it's all about getting the information you need from successful leading marketers to build and grow your digital marketing agency. Brought to you by Adil Amarsi, founder and CEO of Umbrella, the technology platform and brand that is powering thousands of marketing agencies around the country. Find him at umbrellaus.com. And now, here's your host, Adil Amarsi.
Welcome to the Marketing Umbrella Podcast, where we talk with successful marketing experts about ways to build and grow your digital marketing agency. My guest today is a sought-after copywriter who works with the likes of Jay Abraham, Dov Baron, Tony Grebmeier. He helped his clients generate over $821 million in sales and over 14,000 marketing campaigns. He is a master of direct response copywriting. I'm excited to say hello to Mr. Adil Amarsi. Hi, Adil.
It'd be great if I unmuted myself. Hey, thanks so much for the actual introduction, Isma.
That's the best way to get on the podcast, unmuted.
Always the best way.
So before we jump into helping our listeners grow their business, and I have a lot of questions for you because you are a master at copywriting, I want to talk a little bit about your unique venture into copywriting. You know, that the way you started as a kid. If you can tell the listeners a little bit about that, because it's a very interesting story.
Yeah, sure. So I'll try and condense this because I've told this story before and it's like, we're here for like 15 minutes. I'm like trying to get down the 5-minute version because I love just getting into helping. So my story is quite simple. It's quite unique in its own right. So when I was about 4 years old, 4 or 5 years old, my dad was paralyzed from the waist down from time until the time I was 7. Any psychologist out there, anyone who loves psychology, can tell you that your psychological brain, your conscious brain, isn't really formed until after the age of 7. So before that, it's all unconscious matter picking up ideas and thought processes. It's why children are so impressionable from such a young age. My dad is like, so my sister and I would fight over the TV, 90s Nickelodeon versus Cartoon Network. That was the beef in the house. I wanted to watch cartoons. She wanted to watch Nickelodeon. So she used to sit on me and change the channel whenever I had the TV. So I was like, damn it. So one day I devised a strategy in my infinite wisdom of being a child. I'm going to sit down and watch whatever dad was watching. So when he gets up at 6 o'clock to move, TV's mine. And no one can get mad at me because I've been here for the last 4 hours, like 2-3 hours, just killing time, waiting for dad to move. And I can go do this. And I'm a kid. I have nothing else to do. Like, what do I do? I'm 5 years old. I've got nothing to do. I'm going to go like, wait. Or I'd go outside and play and make sure that I'd come back in time. But essentially my dad had 4 things he loved watching. The news, which is great for propaganda. Do not recommend it for anyone personally, just, unless you want to study it, by all means. Number 2 is a show that's no longer on air called 15 to 1. It was a trivia show about really random trivia, like really random shit that you'd be like, how the fuck do you know that? That kind of knowledge. The third show is a show called Countdown, if you're from the UK or have actually like UK programming. They do 8 out of 10 Cats does Countdown, which is a humorous version. But the actual show is you have 9 letters picked at random and you have to come up with the highest scoring point word from those 9 letters. And then every third round, you have a numbers round where you have 1 minute. You have 30 seconds to come up with a word and you have 1 minute or 30 seconds to come up with a mathematical equation. So they give you 6 numbers. It comes up with a mathematical equation and you got to figure it out in 30 seconds. So it could be like 50, the numbers could be like 1 through 10 and then 25, 75, 50, 75, 100. So it's like 1 to 10 plus those 4 big ones. And it could be something like you get 922, but the way you get to 922, you got 10, 1, 5, 5, 2 and 25, and you got to come up how you get to 826 with just those numbers in 30 seconds. And
okay,
it's like a really fun little game, and you always just challenge me in the way it was. My dad, as I found out after his passing, may he rest in peace, my dad may have also been autistic with ADHD because he was mathematically gifted. Like, he didn't go to school for mathematics, he wasn't that kind of guy, but mathematically he was a genius. I've never met anyone that can look at numbers and just figure them out. They were like a language to him. And he used to tell me about this. So up until about 7, for about 2 years, the last thing I haven't even touched on, which is the most important thing, was for about 2 hours a day, 6 days a week for 2 years. My dad loved the Home Shopping Channel. He liked watching Billy Mays pitch. He used to like watching every single thing that was selling. I have no idea to this day why he found it so soothing and relaxing, but he did. And in the end, that kind of impressed into my brain. This is what selling is. Fast forward to the age of 8, I'm trying to find a way to play video games while my cousins and my sister are all watching TV. I find this fast track is waiting for my mum to go on to speak to my aunt on the phone. The moment she's on the phone to my aunt, she'll just do anything to get rid of me. So I always used to go ask, can I play on my PlayStation while she's on the phone to my aunt, and she would say yes. She called me a little manipulator, which I found really funny that day. I actually had a great time with it. And at the age of like 12, my parents were called into parents-teacher conference. They're like, hey, your son's smart, but the problem is he's a perfectionist. When he's writing anything, if he makes like a small mistake, he can't cross it out, he can't do anything, he has to rip the page out and start again. Now, granted, at the time of airing this show, after July 23rd, 2021, I will find out whether or not I actually am on the autistic spectrum. I do know I've got ADHD, and that was diagnosed in 2021 as well. So it's kind of all making sense to why my brain works the way it does. But from that point on, at 12 years old, I ended up writing stories for my dad every single day just to get to the speed of handwriting every single day. I went from having almost perfect handwriting to having very squiggly line doctorish handwriting to somewhere in the middle right now. Somewhat readable, more legible if you want, as you would. But since then, I actually found I had so many more passions and stuff around the age of 12 because my parents separated for 2 years. And my commute at school went from like 25 to 30 minutes there and back to 2 hours, 1 hour each way on the bus in the morning and in the evening. After school, and then I fell in love with basketball, fell into martial arts, like Thai boxing in particular, really got into hip hop and rap music, and really got into like writing ideas and battle rapping and stand-up comedy and poetry. And
Well, Adil, maybe you can sum up, because we're limited on time. How does that brought you into doing content so well?
So all of this, basically, I'm laying the groundwork. All that was there. And then fast forward to me at 18 years old, I started a network marketing business. Me and my network marketing upline fall out. I ended up going online. I ended up going to this event like a year later because I'm like, I suck at traffic. I need traffic. It's the reason I'm here. And they asked me like, okay, I made friends with them. And I went to the second event where I was in the crew, made friends with the speakers there again. And they were like, all right, what are you good at? You're like 18, 19 years old. What are you good at? I was like, I'm terrible at selling apparently, but I'm really bad at traffic. But I had like 10 people view my blog post once and give me like 7%, 7 of them gave me money. They're like 70% gave me money. Like, do they know you? I was like, no, this is completely cold people online. They're like, I think you might be a copywriter. You might want to go into that room and start charging for it. I was like 18, 19 years old, and the rest is history. Like since then, we've gone on to do, as you said at the very beginning, like in the last 14 years, we've done 821 million that we can track. The real number's like 1.2 billion, as you'll actually realize at the end of the show. I do not do the thing where I hold back. So if you ask me a question, you are going to get the exact answer of how it would work. So that is my journey. And the reason why all those other things play out is because heavy creativity also influences how I write copy, because it exposed me to so many different worlds and ideas. It's one of the reasons why I can think on my feet. So there we go. And I used to be a stand-up comic, so that helps too.
That's actually, I'm asking you in advance. At the end, you have to tell a joke. Needs to be short. But okay, cool.
Give me 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes to make sure that I get this thing going, and I'll give you guys a quick story that'll make you laugh.
Okay, awesome. So let's, you are very good at what you do, and let's jump into helping our members make their sales better. Sure. And they do it in many different ways, right? Because when you make sales, you have obviously phone conversations with people that you want to close. You have emails that you sent. You have LinkedIn messages. You have the prospecting, the closing. You have many. So I'm going to ask you about some of them. So let's say I'm on a sales call. Right. And, I kind of get all the information I need from my client. It's client discovery. The client hears a little bit about me. And then I'm nearing the end of the call. And what happens a lot of times is that people don't know how to close because they're missing a hook. And do you have any advice?
Yes.
Or maybe there is a patent on how to help them close?
Get rid of the fear of your client. Your client is scared. Just keep that in your mind. Your client is scared the moment they get on the phone with you. Stop them feeling scared of doing business with you. The best close in the world is telling someone exactly what to do and what's going to happen next. Are you okay with role playing with me for a second?
Yeah, sure.
Cool. Let's just say that you're about to, it's an agency, whatever it is. I'm the salesperson having a conversation with you. You're going to hire us. Here's how I would close you and how I would go through the close. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Very simple. So we've already discussed, are we discussing the price right now? Or have we already discussed the price?
Let's say we discussed the price.
let's say we discuss the price and what it is. So like most times people can get to the price conversation and be okay. It's asking for the sale that becomes a problem. So here's how I run through that pattern. It's quite simply, let's just say, give me the price point. Let's say it's $10,000 or something like that, or even
Okay.
five, or even two, any price range you want. And we've delivered the service. So all I'd say is, or like we've said that we're going to do it. So it would start off with, cool. So you've seen everything that we can do. So here's how I work, or here's how we work. It's very simple. So we've already taken across your options. We know exactly what package you're getting. If you could, if I already have the email, great. If I don't, like, if you could do me a quick favor, could you send me your email address on Facebook, email, or like just put it in the chat box that we're speaking in right now? Once you've done that, I'll send you a proposal in the next 30 minutes, which will just cover everything we've already discussed right now, including the next steps moving forward, especially when it comes down to how you can make your first payment, or how you can make your payment so we can get started and what we need to ensure that this is a smooth transaction for you. Do you have any questions for me?
Very nice. Very
That's
nice.
That's not the close, by the way. So it's
Oh,
like,
okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I don't have any questions right now, but I need to talk with my partner and I need to think about it a little bit and maybe get back to you. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's completely fine. Is your partner nearby right now?
He is not around.
Okay, cool. So I'll tell you what, do me a quick favor. Send me your email and send me their email as well, if you can, please. What I'll do is I'll start a group conversation for the three of us, and I'll send the agreement through as is. So I can say, this is what we discussed, this is what you're going to get. So your partner is 100% informed. There's also going to be a secondary booking link in there as well. So your partner, myself, and you can get on a phone call. We can really air out any kind of areas that might be like, I'm not really sure if this is going to work. I'm not really sure what's going to happen. And no offense, I know my business better than you would know my business. So it would be best for me to speak to them and you so we can see if we're going to move forward together. Now, do you have any other questions? Like, if you have any other questions moving forward when we are working together, please write them down so we can make sure that second call really gets us going forward. But just so you know, I will need to have this conversation with both of you in the next 5 days. The reason being, we always send out these agreements and we have a 5-day grace period for someone to fulfill on them, especially if they have conversations where they have to have them with a partner, do it with a business partner or a spouse. We want to make sure that everything's above board. Main reason is when your spouse and business partner is also on board, it keeps us accountable and keeps you accountable to get the very most of the work that we produce for you. So is that completely okay with you?
Yeah, but I think I'm a little bit behind, and maybe I'll get back to you a week after. Am I gonna lose the option of working with you?
Unfortunately, so the reason basically being is after our 5th day, we have so many other clients that are coming through the pipeline that we want to make sure that we can onboard you and have the process in place to carry you forward. I mean, the worst part is if we actually wait a week to get you on board, we can have the discussion then and we can reset a whole new agreement, which is fine. I don't really mind doing that. Could be the exact same thing. We just send it out, but we'll be making sure that your timeline will be moved by 7 days. So like wherever else we would want to deliver the work, it'd be 7 days after that, just simply because we have to wait 7 days. So if that's okay with you, more than happy to do that.
Okay. Okay.
Cool.
Thank
All
you.
right. So if you don't have any other questions, could you do me a quick, like, do you have any other final questions?
No, I'm good.
Perfect. Send me the email to both of them right now while we're on the phone, please, because I have a horrible memory and I'll forget. So just send those across to me in the chat, and I'll send you an agreement in the next 30 minutes or so, with a booking time for you and your partner to get on a call with me. If it turns out that we need to wait until next week to do this, I'll send everything over and I'll keep a lookout. So just book in right now for next week. So don't wait for like next week to speak to me. Book in today for next week, so at least you can get both you and your partner on board. Great.
Awesome.
Super.
Awesome.
Looking forward to speaking to you in a week. Take care. Bye. So the whole psychology of that is that you're not desperate for the sell at all. You're not actually trying to sell them right away. It also offers positioning and power to you, even if you don't have any other clients coming in that way. What you're essentially doing is creating a boundary for your client to know, hey, listen, this is how I do business. If you overstep this boundary, because the thing is, if you give leniency on one side, they're going to start taking the piss. Like we've all had clients that like they come in, they pay for one thing, and then halfway through, because you like them, they're like, hey, we'll throw in like this other service and this other thing, and you're like, that's like another $3,000 worth of work that I need to do that I'm only doing for free because you've asked me to. Where the reality is, if you just set the boundaries at the very beginning and say, this is how I work, your client's going to respect you more because they know that you would actually look after them and you set strict boundaries. And if they don't like you and never come back, you just avoided a client that you're not going to get along with because they're going to constantly violate your boundaries. So it's a great way of keeping that. It sets the tone before the ink is dry on the paper.
That was awesome.
It's a really good way of doing it. But key things to keep in mind here: you will stutter, you will have problems of speaking. So the best advice I can give you is go stand in front of a mirror about an hour before the sales call and have that conversation with yourself. Every tricky conversation. What's the price point? Memorize the price point. I can't really get this right now. Figure out how you're going to come back from it. Never argue with your clients. Never argue with them on the phone call. Best thing you can actually do is you can get impassioned and go, that's a fucking dumb thing for you to do. I would not advise doing that. And here's the reasons why I would not advise doing that. Again, changes roles in consultancy. Whereas if you end up coming in with the whole idea that you know exactly where you're going, what's going on, you've got more clarity. And the one that has the more clarity and the power that controls the frame controls the conversation. So if you're in that space where you're like, motherfucker, I'm clean and clear. I know what's going on up here. And I'm willing to walk away from you. Because you're willing to walk away, that actually draws people into you even more.
I love it. I love it.
It's a weird dating lesson as well, by the way, for anyone that's single.
It's been 17 years, but I'll keep it in mind if I need to use it again.
I just meant more anyone else that's like listening. It's a great way of, it's essentially in relationships, dating, and life in general. If you're willing to walk away, people are willing to do the business.
I agree. I 100% agree. That was very, very well framed. Thank you. So let's go then take a step back. And this entire conversation with the client started because there was some sort of reach out.
Yeah.
And people are doing tons of things to prospect, from Facebook ads, cold calling, emails, and some automation and all those things together.
Yeah.
Do you have any some smart tips how to craft a prospecting message, whatever you choose, whether it's a social message on LinkedIn or an email, that would get the highest response?
There's a multitude of ways of doing this, but I'd go back 1 or 2 steps. And what I would do is I'd sit down and I would obsess over my client and find out exactly what type of person I want to work with. Once you know who you want to work with, you understand what kind of, like, don't just go like age, demographic, ideology, man. Don't stop there. Go with what TV shows they like. What's their thought process? What's their ideal weekend? Are they a meat eater? Are they a vegan? Are they a vegetarian? Are they open to other things? Do they keep themselves very, very quiet? Are they, which side in the political arguments do they stand on, if you want to go that far? I personally don't, but you have a myriad of thought processes that really go on here. And the reason that you want to have this is we live in a world today where you have access to so much information about people. It is unprecedented. We are spoiled for choice, even from 20 years ago. Like even 10 years ago, we weren't spoiled with this much information. We just are. So what you do instead is you can use little questions like, what's your favorite TV show? Or like, who is your, back in the, like when you were growing up, what was your favorite TV show? And who did you want to be? And then who was the one movie character you always wanted to embody? Like at school, what movie influenced your behavior the most? When you did X sport, who was the one person that you looked up to? All these things sound mundane. Oh, they just seem like social conversation. Yeah, but guess what? You're now getting data points on who you want to work with. Now you've got all these data points. Once you collect the data, now steps into the question that you asked me, like social prospecting. Well, guess what? Now you know who you're talking to. You know what they're going to respond to. So you start crafting messages around what they would respond to. Mm-hmm. So for instance, one of my ideal audiences, they are giant nerds. They love dorky, nerdy shit. They're like Star Wars fans like I was growing up. They love martial arts. They really enjoy the nuances of, they watch cartoons still to this day. They're like big kids. So I'm like, great. If that's they like good TV, they like good stories. That's their whole thing. I love stories. So if that's their place, what type of content do you think I'm going to be putting out there?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Story-based content that is 100% aligned to some of the storylines they're using, so I don't have to come up with anything new. I just need to modify for my own audience. And more importantly, I'm qualifying who gets on the phone with me before they've even got to me, because if they're responding to my content online, they know who I am. They know what I stand for. So when they end up on the phone with me, there's no, oh, I was surprised, blah-de-blah. It's like, no. When you get on the phone with me, you know that I'm high value. I charge a lot of money. You know exactly what type of nerdy stuff I'm into. You know that I swear. And you know that I'm a little bit, well, I'm ADHD as fuck. So you are predisposed to all of this ahead of time. Right?
So
You get all the stuff
yeah,
ahead. So that's how you
yeah.
basically put the content out there, is that the structure, once you've got this, to answer your question more directly, the structure is being yourself and attracting the people that align with that. And if you're like, but who I am and what I sell are so different, they can't really be together. Well, create the persona of the person at work that they'll be dealing with.
Okay, so let me make it a little bit harder for you. Maybe it's harder. I don't know. Maybe it's easy.
Let's go for it.
So a lot of the agencies work with small businesses.
Yes.
And we're not talking about high ticket clients. We're talking about a $12,000 a year client, maybe sometimes $8,000, and because $1,000 a month kind of retainer. And they could be a dentist, could be a small-time lawyer, could be any one of those things for small agencies, for smaller agencies. So let's say somebody wants to niche down. And they say, for example, dentists, they want to niche down because they're taking a deal's advice and they're saying, okay, I need to understand better my persona. And, I can't just get one because I'm not making $200,000 on this dude. I need a lot of them. So how do I now go after dentists? Would I go with the professional content route, or should I still stay personal and try to figure out what dentists like just because they're dentists? Is that too vague?
No, both. You go both. The way that you reel them in is, if you, let's just say I was a marketing agency specifically that design, I don't know, marketing for dentists. What do I do? Says exactly on the same, says what it sounds on the tin, marketingfordentist.com. Let's just say that's the thing that you actually have.
Mm-hmm.
All your social content, all the content out there, literally is around, you can talk about your client wins, but mix it up between work stuff, personal, who you are, calling out your audience, and engagements. So you have those three separate ideologies all merging together, because no one person is one thing. So I would still take time exactly what my dentist likes and what all dentists really get into. Like, if all dentists just happen to be super nerdy, like one of the things that dentists don't like is being told that they're not real doctors, because they do go to medical school. It pisses them off. Same with chiropractors. It's the biggest piss off in the world. So agitate it slightly. The way I would do it is, I'd find, there's an episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, one of my favorite episodes, where a dentist is being interrogated. I would literally take the lift between Professor, like, what was it, Captain Holt, and this dentist getting into a fight about this, and just post the GIF underneath and have the caption above, seriously, how sick and tired are you thinking, how sick and tired are you of people in your family saying you're just a dentist when you could have been, and not a quote unquote doctor? Like,
I
just
love
put
it.
that in. It's just a great way
That's
that everyone's like,
amazing.
yeah, that's me, immediately calling it out. And then the next thing you can just say is like, okay, let me show you. Like, you can DM them. You're like, hey, I saw that you actually felt that way. How about I help you become more successful in your business? Or like, hey, really good to connect with you. Are you a fan of Brooklyn Nine-Nine? Have a conversation. Like, I'd love to talk to you because you're a dentist and I help dentists. Done.
Yeah.
That's a great way of opening that door so quickly and easily. And that's using one reference. You can do this with a myriad of things. You can talk about like what the deepest personal fears are and really bring that up. For instance, you can even just say something along the lines of, you can put a picture of a dentist from like the olden days and be like, do people near you still think this is what you look like when you go to work? Post a
They
picture
do.
of,
They
it's
do
like, just
100%.
it's like, just you can even go as far as like, post a link, post a picture, post a selfie of what you look like in your office. Comment below. Engagement. People will do that. Will post photos of themselves at work because they're like, fuck yeah, I don't look like this asshole. I'm fine. And what that does, it opens up more boundaries, more joy, because what you're essentially doing is you're starting to put your name out there to differentiate to everyone else, because everyone else is like, come work with me. I can get you this. I can do this. I can do that. Blah, blah, blah. Same noise everywhere else is going. You're cutting through that noise by introducing humor, by introducing play. You're reintroducing like personality. And the way that you bring that through with your copywriting, your understanding, and your interaction with people is you get them to really enjoy those aspects. You get them to come back in, have that engagement. And if you're like, how do I get them from that to closing? Well, guess what?
This podcast is brought to you by Umbrella. Have an agency? Check out umbrellaus.com to grow it today.
They've subscribed to the idea of you being funny or being playful. If that's your personality, if that's not you, then be factual. Be factual in your data. Just say 23,000 dentists last year ended up going out of work and 1,000 of them ended up homeless. None of my clients ended up homeless or lost a single patient. Want that?
Nice.
Reach
Yeah.
out to me. It's a complete, like, this is a statistical thing. Here's what happened. Here's why we're different. Let's go. Even as far as saying, why do our clients pay us more money? And then even call that out by going, yep, sounds douchey, I know, but read on. And then just have that conversation. The best thing you can do is be conversational in anything you put out, especially socially. On your website, slightly different. On your website, you want to keep a level of professionalism. So your website goes, marketing for dentist. If you're a dentist and you're looking at ways to increase your increase the client flow through the front door, making sure that they always prepay and keep you afloat even during like pandemic times, and you're truly 100% ready to really grow your practice, so you no longer have to run around like a madman trying to juggle everything under the sun, or mad person trying to juggle everything under the sun, then read every word below. And then you go into, here's what my clients said previously, here's the testimonials, here's the services we offer, why do we charge as much as we do? Like, if you're not the most expensive person in the marketplace, you can just say, the reason we don't charge as much as we do is quite simple. You can go to every other person and pay through the nose, but I guarantee you two things are going to happen. Number one, one of three things are going to happen. Number one, you're going to get the best service in the world because there's the highest quality and those people love to deliver their services, which I hope. Number two, more likely, you'll be one of many clients they're working with right now. So you don't get the specialized attention from the team. You actually end up getting moved around multiple different people, though working with 3 or 4 people at any given time. Or you can say like working with 10 people or 10 dentists or more, or 10 people in different markets all the time, while promising you that team can take care of it. Or number three, it's you spent so much money, you have nothing to show for it. So what we did was we revamped the model and essentially created it. So you're paying a lower fee every single month, $1,000 a month. You can prepay and take 10,000 upfront for the full year if that's the thing. But essentially, you work with a very small committed team that is there to work with you. We only take on X amount of clients a year. The reason being is our team isn't ready to, like, the systems and processes that we have in place only allow us to support up to 20 clients a year. And if you're like up to 200 clients, like, how, like, let's say you're one of the bigger marketing agencies, you're like, we want to bring in more people, 200, what the shit? Then you change the copy around by saying, those smaller companies, while they give you more dedicated time to each person, they're not able to see what we call the cross-pollination effect taking place. Because we work with so many different marketplaces around the world, we've actually realized that what works in one market isn't being used in another. And when you bring it across, it revolutionizes the game. Case in point, pre-2010 or even pre-2015, hardly anywhere online was asking for your name and email address when you landed on the website. Now, everywhere, including restaurants, including your own practice, is asking for a name and email address. Do you think that was just a pie out of the sky, dropped out of the way? No, we've been using this stuff for years in different industries. We brought it into this industry, and now we see it grow like wildfire. Allow us to bring the next innovation to your industry and to your practice. That's how you really switch it around.
Very well done. Very well done. That's
and I'm
wonderful.
I'm making all of that up off the top of my head, by the way, just for anyone at home going, is he reading a script? No, I'm actually making this up because we had no idea what the fuck.
I see. And that's actually, it's a plus, but it's also a minus, because I think some listeners like, I can't do this so fast. That's going to take me hours, but it's fine. So it's going to take them hours. Not everybody works on copywriting every day for the past 20 years.
Yeah. Like you guys don't do this at the same level because it's different. What I would suggest that you do, however, is pick up a couple of basic copywriting books and knowledges, and you'll be able to at least write your own advertising / know when you're being ripped off.
Is there somebody that really influenced you that you really like and you can recommend?
There are so many. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a very quick rundown. Some of them are going to be marketing and advertising books. Some of them are not going to be advertising.
Give us 2, your best 2.
Ooh, okay. I can give you 4. I can give you 2 on pitch, 2 copywriting, 2 non-copywriting. All right, copywriting and advertising and sales and shit like that. Probably one of the best books you can get is Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene Schwartz. It's an old book. I think Brian Kurtz sells it right now. It's like $195. Totally worth it, by the way. Teaches you how to get into the brain of someone, which is one version. It's the more expensive of the books I would recommend. It's the only expensive book I'd recommend. The other one that I'd recommend, which is really, really simple. Give me just one moment. Gotta find, like, there's literally so many books here on persuasion and stuff that I have to find the right one. Probably one of the best books you can find, and it's only $20 right now, so I would recommend it. I don't know why I didn't put that as my number 1, but Kick-Ass Copywriting Secrets of a Marketing Rebel by John Carlton. go online, pick it up. It is only $20. Even if it's $100, pick it up. Because when I bought this, it was $300.
Wow.
And like he reduced the price during COVID to like $20. And I can tell you right now, it is the greatest source starting point on how to write copy from one of the best teachers ever. So those are my 2 recommendations for those 2 books. The other 2 books that are non-business, they're non-books that are brilliant for this kind of world. Number 1 is The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. Really good book at understanding how people think and what goes on. So that's a powerful book that I definitely recommend. And the other book that I would recommend that everyone reads specifically is it's an open book, and that is go out there and find your favorite storybook. Could be fiction. Don't care if it's Harry Potter. It could be a book that you read when you were 5. Whatever fictional title it is that makes you feel emotions, read it. And then go through it and figure out why you feel the emotions you do. This isn't an easy task, by the way. The more you do this, the better you become. The better you become, the better you can sell. And the better you can sell, the more you can help your clients grow. So these are like 4 very easy books that you can get through. Laws of Human Nature will take you the longest. Breakthrough Advertising is a hard read. It's just a tough read, but it's great for like market sophistication and understanding brains. John Carlton and your favorite book are probably going to give you more out of anything else, because they're going to really, really challenge you. So those are the books I recommend.
Thank you. So we talked about the pluses until now, the more positive things of how to. But let's look for a second. I don't like to dwell on the negative stuff, but what do you find, because you see so much copy for so many companies, do you see any patterns of mistakes that people should avoid?
Oh, okay, cool. I'll give you guys my top 3, because there's some doozies. Number 1, if you're selling information or ideas or idea change of any kind whatsoever, avoid the word learn. Please, for the love of God, avoid it. It is a terrible word. It is a shitty word. It will suck you dry and actually destroy your life. The reason basically being is it actually puts up a lot of blocks. A lot of people tell you, as I said before the show, they'll be like, oh, it's because of work. No, actually what it is, psychologically speaking, the word learn, especially with an entrepreneurial type personality that has their own business, that feels like they can strike out, which is the majority of us and who you'd be selling to, you end up with people that are like, I did not like school. I didn't like school. School is a negative experience. I only went there because I had to go there. So you saying learn and teach and stuff like that is actually reestablishing those old roles. Even if you have a great product or service and you find someone going like, I got to pump the brakes. The reason is you on a very unconscious level, and that's that they don't even know that you've triggered them. Just something in their brain goes, avoid pain. Learning is pain. Learning is school. Pain must avoid. So that's basically one of the key things that you look at. Number 2, formatting is key. People do not format their websites and their copy correctly. What I mean to say is there's this trend that started the last 8 years where people put everything in centered text. And when I say centered, I don't mean like they minimize it so it's all down the middle. No, I mean they've actually set everything so it's like line and then weird. And it's like everything is a subheadline. Keep your subheadlines and headlines as centered text because they stand out. If you make the rest of your copy centered text, go read a book by Rudolf Flesch. On any of his books on how people think, write, and speak, because he actually helped a lot of the Western side of the world come up with the ideology of how they teach schooling and writing and teaching and reading, because he basically helped do that. And it turns out we go left to right. If you only have it down the middle, you're going to be only getting the middle context of what's going on, which of course leaves out a lot of the contextual data that you need on the other side that actually gets you across to the sale. So that's formatting mistake number 2. So that's mistake number 2. The other mistake is another formatting one, and that is the idea. Again, it's this idea of using school grammar and English grammar, like Western grammar, like reasons and paragraphs in your sales copy. It doesn't work that way. Whenever you're selling, people are buying from a human. So embrace the 1-sentence paragraph. Could be 4 lines, full sentence, new paragraph. The reason you do it this way, could be 1 word, full stop, new paragraph. The reason you have it this way is because in your mind, in your client's mind, when they're reading through things, they're skimming. It's like the equivalent. If I sent you like a big block of text that was like literally an inch big and like an inch like so wide and so, there it's there, read it. You skip through it.
Yeah.
It's like, no. And plus also, you don't realize this, but when you're actually writing those paragraphs where they're all like joined together, you might have a really good sales bullet in there that's hidden and no one else ever sees. And that could be the thing that kills your sales. So break it up, make sure it's easy to read. My 4th mistake would be people don't embrace the ellipsis so much. The ellipsis is the 3 dots. Just know how to use it correctly, because some people put 3 dots and they continue the sentence and then another sentence and another sentence, and it doesn't make sense. essentially go back through your copy, read it out loud. That's number 5 is wait today, go back, read it out loud, see where there's inconsistencies in your speech when you're reading, because the same inconsistencies will come up in someone's brain when they're reading as well. So
Those are
reading
the
it
top.
out,
Yeah.
yeah, just read it out loud and then go, oh, I made a mistake, that needs to be said, or that looks right in writing, but it doesn't sound right when I say it, so change it so it sounds right. And also last thing I'd leave you guys with, don't be afraid to write how you speak. So for instance, if you say gonna instead of going to, do that. This is like a rule 5.1, really, that I'd give you guys. For the love of God, people, I don't know who started this, but you're an asshole for it, and I'll call you one forever. This idea of people removing the word I am and just putting the word am, that's not grammar. It's not grammatically correct, dumbass. It's I''am if you want to say I am. Am is not a word in the way that you do it. Just pisses me off. I have such an annoyance about this, as you can tell. But realistically, the reason is because even those are intellectual markers, by the way. When your client is reading something and they see something intellectually off about that, turns them off.
Yep. Yeah.
So be very, very careful about how you do this.
Thank you. That was excellent. Very detailed. I really appreciate all the details, Adil. I think those are the best advices. I know we don't have a lot of time, but I want to ask you 2-3 more last questions. I'll try to make it brief.
Dude, I'm chilling. I can stay for a little bit longer if you need me to. So ask away.
I appreciate it. So one of the things is, I think a lot of people have a hard time boiling down complex ideas. Yes. Meaning they have something in their heads and they're saying, it's like 5,000 things that I'm doing for this client, but he's not going to read 5,000 things. How do I condense it to a cube that, represents the value of those 5,000 things? And I think that's a job of a good copywriter, but maybe you can have a few tips to somebody who's not so much a copywriter.
Yeah, if you're not a copywriter and you're looking at a way to condense things, batch them. And this is like a really old thing that I've not really spoken about, because believe it or not, rarely do I get asked this question, but this is how I do it, is if you do 5,000 things, sit down, write them all out in a notepad, and then go to a new page and go, what's the linking elements of this 1,000, this 1,000, this 1,000, this 1,000? Now you have 5 elements. Okay. Now break those down further and see where the congruency is. So for instance, if you offer copywriting, marketing, content strategy, SEO, paid advertising, organic marketing on social, account management, email writing, graphic design, site building, onboarding, flow chatting, messenger. So I've named like 13 services that you can actually run with. And let's just say that's the ones that you do. And then you're like mindset and coaching and blah, 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 and everything else in between. It's like up to 20 now. So what you do instead in your sales copy is you break it down to how each one works. And you just say something as simple as this. Now we work with, what do you say? So what can we do for you? We have a myriad, we have a lot of options for our clients to work in that comes into these 5 pillars. We have mindset, marketing, business consultation and strategy, traffic, organic, social, and paid, and then finally is other, or like tech other. And you just say each one of these is designed to help our clients move through different things, whether that's building a website to getting traffic through free media or paid media, all the way to understanding how to write engaging copy that really brings the clients in, all the way towards ensuring that the final sale is taken care of. Essentially, we take care of everything for you. And that's how you put it. Now, if they have questions on what those 5,000 things are, then you give them the answer. But the way you condense down a complex idea is very much like cooking. You sit with it, you let it cook, you simmer it down until you get to the very basics and go, that's what I do. So it's like, how do I boil like 15 services into one? I batch them, and then I look at exactly what the running theme is, and then I find a way to explain what that idea is. So it could be something like traffic, like website traffic. You can just say, here what we do is we cover social media. So we do organic social media, we do paid social media, paid ads, and search engine optimization. The reason we have it set this way is quite simple. Each one of these layers has a different amount of work needed to get done and executed to see different levels of results. with each one of our clients, we look at exactly what is the best strategy that would work for them, because not every client is correct for social media. Not every client is correct for paid advertising offline or in other areas like Google. So we find exactly where your sweet spot is. So essentially what you've done is taken a very complex idea, given them enough information, and then turned it back to how it benefits them.
I love it. So, moving on, taking on this approach of helping people that are not copywriters, that don't have so much copy acumen, if you will. I know that you have a podcast, right? It's Adil Amarsi Unplugged.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I want the listeners, I think copywriting, I know copywriting is a must for marketers. At the end of the day, you don't have to be the copywriter of your agency because you're managing it and maybe you're doing a bunch of other things, but you have to have a certain amount of acumen in copywriting to be a good marketer. So
Agreed.
Can they find that listening to your podcast?
They can. Specifically, what I'd say is go to the 2017 library of my show, which, you'll be able to find fairly quickly. Like literally go on Spotify, type in Adil Amarsi Unplugged, and just go down 2017 and you'll see like a list. I basically interviewed, I think, 52. To be fair, my entire show, you can actually find copywriters littered throughout there. There's like so many great legendary copywriters throughout that entire run. To give you guys an idea, we're ending the show at the end of December 2021, like we're finishing the show off, but at the end of that, there'll be roughly around 350 episodes and 8 years worth of content just up there ready for you guys to go through. And there's about 70 amazing podcasts with copywriters and business owners on how to strategically get into your own client's head, figuring out basics of copywriting, what things people should look out for. Even if you listen to the one that I did in 2020 with a guy called Chris McCombs, MCCOMBS, that is a 90-minute episode, because I've been trying to get Chris on the show for like 7 years at that point. When he finally did it, he actually revealed how he promotes himself and how he gets his clients to build almost a cult-like following with them in anything they do. So very powerful episode. Would recommend that show. But what I will give you guys a heads up, it's very much conversational. So you'll hear me rant about stuff. We don't really have a set structure, but they're always fun. They're always interesting and brilliant. So you'll have a lot of fun on them. Guys,
go to Adil Amarsi Unplugged, and you can find that on iTunes, right? And probably on you. Where else?
iTunes, Spotify. We're not on Google Play Store. We're on Stitcher. And those are the places. We also have adilamarsi.com/podcast, where you guys can read a little bit more with timestamps, which is our website, but not the main site I'll be moving forward with, as you guys will find out in a moment.
Yeah. So I know, one of the things is you give advice to people every day. And I ask this every person that I interview because they're all experts. And do you have one advice? I'm sure you got many, but one advice, maybe early on, that was very meaningful for you, that created a big transition, maybe pivotal in the way you look at in growing your business?
Oh, man, you've asked me like a really tough question. Okay, I'm not going to answer this from some advice I got from when I was younger. I'm going to give this advice more now on something that happened in the last 2 weeks that really shifted everything for me. I mean, it's always been there, but it's finally I can put it into words. Are you ready for this profound thought? So profound. It's 3 words. It's literally 3 words. Simplicity is key. Simplicity is key. That is all you need to know. Like essentially, the simpler you keep things, the easier it becomes. Yes, you can add complex ideas on top of that, but make sure your foundation is simple, because you can reproduce from simple. So I always tell people, like, copywriting is the master skill and the master skill of everything. And the reason I say that is, think of a pizza. All pizzas have bases. Copywriting is your base. Everything you add on top, the sauce, the cheese, the toppings, whatever else that you want to add in, those are extras. But if you can get your basics down, if you can get the basis of what you need to do down and keep that simple, you'll be able to replicate and modify whenever you want. Arnold Schwarzenegger said it best, which is know the rules, then bend them. Don't break the law, but break the rules, bend the rules, find your way around them. Yeah. Once you've got simplicity down, you know the rules. You know the rules of what's right and wrong, what you can do and what you can't do, and that's how you build that. So that's my big piece of advice I'd give. And if you guys want something a little bit more profound, because I know some people are like, I want something a little bit more profound. Here's one of the best pieces of advice I've ever picked up in my entire life. I think it was 21 when I did it. And it was aim to understand people and you will forever be paid. If you can understand
Very
people,
nice.
you'll ever be paid. And the third piece of advice, because I'm going to give 3 because I love giving as much as I can. The third one is from my friend Jesse Elder, which was brilliant, which is people pay you money. So, sorry. The moment you can explain someone else's
No. Stop there. People pay you money. I think that's the best advice I ever heard.
People pay you money. Yep. But this is like the perfect bit here, which is when you can explain someone else's problem, situation, or thought process to them better than they can explain it to themselves, you have a customer for life. So simplicity is key. Seek to understand people. You'll always be paid. And if you can explain their problem to them better than anyone else, you'll have a customer for life. And number 4 or 3.5 on this one is people pay you money.
Excellent. Thank you. And one of the last part that we have before your joke, because I'm still going to hold you to it.
Yep.
Is we have a very quick, rapid Q&A. I ask you short questions to give quick, short answers.
Cool.
It's not edgy. It's not edgy in any way, but if you feel uncomfortable answering anything, you can say pass.
All right, cool. Lightning round. Let's do this.
Okay. So did you get along with your parents growing up?
No.
Do you have siblings?
I got on with my mom, not so much my dad. I have a half sister.
Do you have a pet?
I have 2 cats, Bengals.
Do you have kids?
I have no kids.
When do you wake up?
Depends. Usually around 6 or 7 a.m.
When do you get to bed?
Again, depends. Between 12 and 2 a.m.
Ideal vacation?
Beach. Love going to the beach.
Are you a man of faith?
I am a man of faith.
Awesome. Thank you for your answers. Now, I'm very much looking forward for your joke.
Okay, so this is a story. This shit really happened to me, and I gotta tell you guys this. It's a little messed up, but hang with me because this was 10 years ago. So I was a comedian. I was flying out to New York with 6 other comics to perform for 7 days of open mic nights to these other comics, and of course we go to other clubs and perform that. It was like a really big opportunity for us. I have to paint the picture here. I was the only brown guy there. My hair is longer than it is now because I've only started to grow it back right now. For about 10 years, it was a lot shorter, but my hair grew down to about my shoulders and a much bigger beard. Freaking huge beard, long hair. I look like a hipster Jesus-like looking character, if you want to. That's basically what was the nickname. Flying over, as we do, we get told by our handler, don't make any jokes at TSA New York. They will pat you down. We are so close to the 10th year anniversary of 9/11. Adil, looking at you, shut your fucking mouth. Okay, I'm not going to say anything. I'll keep my mouth shut. So while we're discussing, there's me, 5 white guys, and a black guy named Steven, who we're going to remember because Steven's my partner in this, and Carl, who is my victim in this, and we'll explain why. So while we're going through this entire process on the flight, we come up to its birthdays, and it's Carl's birthday during the week, and we're like, oh, we got to take him out. It'll be absolutely amazing. Like, go out with all of us. It'll be brilliant. And then followed up by, what's your biggest fear? And of course, mine was, I don't want to get arrested and go to Guantanamo Bay. I don't really want to do that because that could be a real possibility because I have a smart mouth and I'll get in trouble. So we don't need that shit. Legitimate thought for a 21-year-old for his second trip to America. It gets better. Carl is sat there next to me and he was like, yeah, my biggest fear is the Chucky dolls from the movie. I was like, why? He goes, my brother used to like scare the crap out of me with them and would like just hide them somewhere, and it used to terrify the shit out of me. I was like, oh, okay. In my head, and like throw a piece of advice and information. Interesting, funny, whatever. We get to TSA, we're going through borders as we do. And you go through the first person, you have like different lines. I'm walking through, he's already gone ahead, he's waiting for us on the other side. And as I'm going through, he just yells out, they ask you, what are you doing here? Why are you here? Who are you here with? And of course, I get extra scrutiny because I look like this. I'm expecting it, it's fine. Before I even get my first fucking answer out, Carl starts yelling, he's the Messiah. He was telling everyone on the plane that he'll convert us. Look at him. I was like, motherfucker. Like, couldn't even get the words out. I was so stunned. I look up the TSA agent. They just look at me and they're like, you're getting detained. I'm like, motherfucker, I'm getting detained. So I get detained. Steven, bless his heart, starts kicking up a foot. I was like, oh, because he's brown. Is that what it is? Don't you know that guy's making a joke? Look at him. Ha, ha, ha. We're all comedians. Immediately, he gets detained for 2 hours. So we're both detained for like 2 and 4 hours. Our handler and the other 5 comics, including Carl, laugh because they're having a good time. It's objectively, it's funny, but going through it, you're like, motherfucker. Anyway, they end up taking the limo that we had and end up going to Manhattan. They just take the limo out of the airport, and I've got my phone like, hey, where the fuck are you guys going? They're like, look, just pay for a cab after you guys get out. We don't know how long you guys are going to be there, but pay for a cab. We'll reimburse you when we see you tonight. I'm like, super, could you at least tell me where the hotel is? And they're like, yeah, we're going to do some stops around the city. We're going to go to Ellis Island. We had like a whole itinerary planned for the day. We weren't going to get back to the hotel about 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening because we had a first show the next day. So we're going to do the whole thing, rest up, get ready for the first night, and go. So I'm out there doing my thing. We're just sat in this detention room. Now, I always tell people never, ever, ever leave a black guy and a brown guy that you just pissed off alone in a room because they will plot revenge, which is what we did. Steven gets released. He waits for me. We get out. We grab a cab, but we don't go to our hotel right away. What we first go to is Godiva Chocolates. We go get a card. We go get some chocolates. We empty out the chocolates, fill up with rocks. We wrap it up, and we leave like a nice little note on the front. The next, we go to Best Buy. While we're at Best Buy, we pick up a couple of wireless webcams and a Wi-Fi extender that's completely there that just gives you full range of motion to plug into your laptop within seconds. The third is we go to the shop. I don't remember what the fucking name is of the shop. It's like it's like a nutty like pop culture shop that has like a lot of like dolls and shit. It's just like a gamer place. I bought 2 Chucky dolls. I strapped one up with a webcam and I was like ready to go. So we get to the hotel, got the balloons and everything. I go to the reception. Now, I lied my ass off and charmed the pants off this woman because A, I can sound more British than I do. So to give you an idea, right now I'm a little bit more flow, so I sound more American than I do British, or I can actually go into my British accent. It's like, hello, nice to meet you. This is exactly what I sound like. Hello, nice to meet you. We're here for my friend Carl. We're all comics, as you can see, and it's his birthday coming up. So we want to go up to his room. Have they checked in yet? They haven't. Great. Can we get the room across the way from his so we can see directly in? Because we're going to live Zoom. And can we get the Wi-Fi password? Because we're going to be live webcamming his surprise to his parents back home. It's kind of like a big surprise because, you know, he's finally made it. He's performing out here. We're all here to support him. We're just so proud of him. Lady falls for it, hook, line, and sinker. She gives me the key card. She gives me the Wi-Fi password for the staff. We plug in the Wi-Fi range extender. We have everything going. We are literally sat. So what we did was it was a bed that had like space underneath. So we put box of chocolates, left a note on the bed saying there's a box of chocolates underneath the bed, some candles, some balloons around the room, and then we waited. So we put a Chucky doll in front of the box and then hung a Chucky doll with the webcam behind the door. And we waited for him. It was like the longest game of peeping Tom we've ever had. We were just looking through this fucking eye hole. Depth perception was gone. I remember like Steven going, shit, he's there, come on. He's like, get it on. So we switch on the thing. And this asshole walks into his room. He's happy, puts his bag down, puts his shoes off, does the little happy dance, like, yeah, I'm in New York, sees the note. And the note reads, by the way, happy birthday from Louis, Chris, and Dave and management team. We're here to, like, you know, don't let the other guys know. We put a special surprise underneath the bed for you. Oh, shit, I got like a surprise? We're webcamming all of this. Like, it's on the little Chucky doll. Like, he shut the door so we can see. He looks down. He jumps back. White as a sheet. Runs to the door. Sees the other Chucky doll. Screams. Passes the fuck out. And we recorded all of this. I had the video of this until 2016. My laptop got stolen, unfortunately, so did my hard drive that had all this shit, so like it went. But oh my god, it was hilarious doing that to him. Because I remember I went on stage that night at a small comedy club, like a real tiny like Sellers. It wasn't even Sellers. It was like a small like little comedy club. Excuse me. And you know, you want to get a feel for the audience and whatever it is. I remember going on stage. I had a completely different opener to my jokes. I had like a whole different setup and stuff. Who's seen Speed? Haha. I was going to joke about terrorist shit because I look brown. And I was like, if you're thinking it, I'm going to make jokes about it. Let's see what really happens. No, instead, I just got it and I was like, I'm not even going to tell you guys a story. I'm just pissed off. Here's what happened to me. And I just told them the whole story. And they just burst out laughing. I was like, this is now my opening joke. And
excellent.
I got asked to like show the video by day 3 on stage to everyone. So I was doing that as well. It was a blast. But
Amazing.
I hope that story delivered for humor.
It did. Thank you for sharing with us.
You're so
Adil, I really want to thank you for doing this today, man. It was excellent. So much detail, so much advice, excellent advice that you gave. And guys, I want you to go to greatestcopywriteralive.com, greatestcopywriteralive.com. That's Adil's website. You can find there a ton of relevant content, and obviously anything that you need to know about his services, and also his podcast, Adil Amarsi Unplugged. I'm gonna go there. I didn't know that you had 500 episodes with so much content.
I think it's like 350. I think it's like 350 at the moment. I don't even actually know how many shows we've recorded. Like, I'm gonna quickly, like, while no one's looking, it's just like, I wonder how many episodes I've actually done. Just quickly check on Spotify. But guys, what I will say as well, if you guys head on over to greatestcopywriteralive.com, you can get access to my StorySelling matrix, which very quickly to describe, when you go through the process of what I show you in a 5-minute video, you'll be able to do this for yourself, your clients, and actually essentially come up with unlimited content based on what they say and what you say. It's so incredibly powerful and makes this copywriting journey a lot simpler. So
amazing.
Cool.
Yeah, go to greatestcopywriteralive.com. Adil, thank you very, very much for being with us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Take care, guys.
Thank you for tuning into another episode of the Marketing Umbrella Podcast, where we provide the information you need from successful leading marketers to build and grow your digital marketing agency. Your host has been Inamar Shafir, founder and CEO of Umbrella, the technology platform and brand that is powering thousands of marketing agencies around the country. Find him at umbrellaus.com.